Let's jump right in. For today's deep dive, we're looking at a really fascinating piece of source material. It's an ancient land dispute from the book of Joshua.
Right.
And it really gets to the heart of something we all do, which is focusing on what we think our limits are instead of our actual potential.
And the context is what makes it so powerful. You got the house of Joseph.
Yeah.
That's the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh. I mean, these guys were a powerhouse. They were given this incredibly generous, prime territory.
The best of the best.
Exactly. But they come to their leader, Joshua, with this major complaint. They feel like they have nothing, a sense of total scarcity.
And that's our mission, right? To unpack that disconnect. How can you be so blessed, so powerful, and still feel like you're coming up short? It's all about that gap between their real strength and, their perceived lack. So let's get into their actual grievance. What did they say?
Well, they come to Joshua with two main points. First, they say, we are a numerous people, the Lord has blessed us.
Okay, so they're starting from a place of strength. We're a big deal.
Right. But then the complaint. Yet, we only received one allotment. They felt shortchanged.
But wait, if they're so numerous and powerful, was the problem really a lack of space?
I think that's the real question. It seems like it was more about a lack of will. They claimed the hill country was too narrow.
Which was basically an excuse, right?
It sounds like it, because the real issue comes out next. Fear.
The chariots of iron.
Yes. The chariots of iron. They point to the Canaanites down in the plains, these powerful enemies in places like the Jezreel Valley.
And these weren't just, soldiers. This was the ancient equivalent of having tanks when everyone else has swords. Overwhelming tech.
It was an obstacle they saw as completely insurmountable.
And this is where the whole conversation pivots. Joshua's response is just, it's not what you'd expect.
Not at all. He doesn't indulge the complaint. He doesn't offer them some easier new piece of land.
So what does he do?
He challenges them. He actually starts by agreeing with them. He says, you are a numerous people and have great power.
So he affirms their own self-assessment. He's basically saying, you're right about how strong you are.
Exactly. He's saying, the problem isn't your inheritance, it's your perspective.
So wait a second. They come to him saying, we can't deal with these tanks, and his advice is to, what? Go grab a shovel.
It sounds harsh, doesn't it? But that's the core lesson. He offers a two-part solution that forces them to activate their own potential.
Okay, so what's part one?
Part one is about internal effort. He tells them to go up into the forested hill country and clear ground for yourselves.
Hard work?
Difficult, sustained labor.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work to make what you have usable.
And part two is the direct confrontation.
Yes. He takes their big excuse off the table. He says, you shall drive out the Canaanites.
Even though they have chariots of iron.
Right. The message is so clear. The strength you need to beat the big, scary enemy is built by doing the hard internal work first. You clear your own forest.
So the big takeaway here is that it's all about focus. They had everything they needed.
Generous land, great power.
But all they could see were the iron chariots, the external problem. They defined their whole situation by what they lacked, not what they had.
And they saw the hard work clearing that forest as just another problem, instead of seeing it as the first step toward their victory.
So the lesson, really, is that the challenge isn't always the obstacle itself. It's our willingness to do the work required. We have to stop staring at the iron chariots, the competition, the lack of funding, whatever it is, and start acting with confidence in the potential we already have.
The potential is there. You're powerful enough.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this? I think this story is just a powerful gut check. Where might we be minimizing our own resources because the challenge ahead just looks too hard?
Well, the source material really suggests that potential isn't some passive thing. It has to be activated by labor. So maybe the final question to think about is this. What's the forested hill country in your life that you need to clear? What's that necessary internal work you're avoiding? All because you're intimidated by some external chariot of iron standing in your way.